Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. Or as I would say, every day is January 1st. Live your New Year's resolutions today. I will get started in 1 second. I'm just pulling up my deck. So today we're going to take a deep dive into the listing consultation. And I don't know, I find it very weird that after all of these years, when I talk to hundreds, if not thousands of agents, I'm like, how do you give a listing presentation? Everyone's like kind of a little confused, right? So we're going to walk you through what our framework is. And then just understand this is a lifelong commitment to perfecting this process and understanding you're never going to perfect it. The more you do it, the more confidence you'll have and the easier the appointments will get. So if you didn't join us this morning, we did an amazing live role-playing session on what makes you different than other agents. And this kind of filters all into these things together because the nice part for all of us is we're working off of one system, right? Which means the less variables we have in all the different things we're trying to learn and put together, the more likely a recipe will actually work out. Right. So we have the materials, we have the resources, we have the system, we have the scripts, and more importantly, we all have each other. Right. So in terms of just like a quick housekeeping item, we had an amazing call with our accountability leaders, Jody, Cherish, Martha, and Brad. And what we're working on doing now is directly building with them an accountability session that reflects what you learned here today. So I would say by the beginning of October, I would say at the latest, you'll come to a session like this and you'll have a supplemental accountability session that will focus just on what you learned today with all the resources and everything pre-prompted to the leaders and a great conversation to have. Because implementation, like education without implementation, is entertainment. And as much as I want to make you guys smile and laugh and make this fun, the thing I care about most is that you're able to easily use what you learn in your business, and your business and your life are both simultaneously getting better. Sound good? And then the four of them will tell you, and they're all sworn to secrecy, but they can smile and you can see this. I have like a Willy Wonka house full of surprises for everybody, which is completely different than anything we've ever done, any other coaching program has done. And it will make connecting much easier, networking, getting referrals from the group, implementing materials, and the challenge is without technology, coaching is scenarios and situations, right? When you look at a platform full of materials, the limitations of technology were titles and tags. So they're two very mutually exclusive things. And what we know is people who use our materials have great success. People that plug into the system have more clients, they're easier to work with, and that they earn full commission. So it is my obsession over the next coming months and going into next year on how to make this all available. And the other obsession I have is with events. We have like literally 11 events that we'll be doing between now and the end of the year. And next year, I think I have geared probably 20 to 30 events where it'll be our first one. We're going to start doing like a 2-day retreat for all of like many of you here are here for like a whole year. It's like a 2-day retreat for all of our annual clients. So that's kind of just some things to look forward to, things we're working on. And I first and foremost just want to thank all of you for the time that you guys send us emails, the feedback you provide, the dozens of emails that say, hey, Chirag, if you did this, this would make it better for all of us. When you find a community of thoughtful people that care more about than just their individual well-being, that's where the magic happens. So, all right, without further ado, let's get into the listing consultation. All right, so let's go through listing consultation essentials. And really the focus is the purpose, how to prepare, understanding their motivation, setting expectations, and really the workflow. And so what I want all of you to think about is The most success that you're going to find in a listing consultation, presentation, or as I would call it, a pitch, right, which is a two-way dialogue, is following these principles of communication. Number one, it's always their choice, right? I can't call Melissa Rubin and say, hey, Melissa, I'm coming to your condo. I'm going to sell it today. You're going to put it on the market. It's not really how it works. The person asking the questions controls the conversation. So if you're having your client ask you questions the entire time, you're playing defense, not offense. Number three and number four, no one wants to hire a non-enthusiastic salesperson. So everything must be in the benefit of the other party, and you have to always be in agreement with your client. Which brings me to number five, no telling, no explaining, no being combative. As soon as you do this, all of the rapport you build goes out the window, and everything you don't want people to think is you being a quintessential salesperson happens. Number six, never show you're attached to any specific outcome. And that goes back to number one. What a client chooses to do is their choice. Our job is to be conduits, facilitators, and help them understand through education and examples and stories and process what's best for them so they can choose to do it. And number seven, this is my mental health aspect of this for all of us, is whatever they choose to do does not mean you have to compromise. Meaning there are a lot of people that just want a discount, right? So if you ask somebody the question of, in the end of this, what does success look like? Maximizing the equity on your home or minimizing the amount you pay out in commission to an agent? If somebody says B, they're probably not right for a luxury service. Now, preparing for the pitch, there are four things that you really need. Collections of Compass or collections for comps, right? So when you look at collections for comps, it is our ability to highlight our local expertise and market knowledge through the comments. And it gives them that ownership experience of what it's like working with you before it's even like working with you. A marketing calendar is what I also call a launch plan, right? So you want to understand how to strategically launch their home so it just doesn't look like a quote unquote marketing plan, right? It's a go-to-market strategy. It's like when you look at movie trailers and movies, they have a whole launch plan. Number three is it fills the number one challenge that people have with real estate agents. It's communication. And number four, you want to have samples of your marketing, so that when you're able to present your marketing, and I'm able to say to Melissa, you know, if we're able to create this same type of marketing for your home in telling your story through video, pictures, digital ads, do you feel comfortable and confident that this will help attract the largest buyer pool and thus get you the best price? The more you can get them into agreement, the easier it is to get them to pay you a full commission. Your pitch book, you have some stuff about Compass, about you and your team. Stop using the word testimonials, and please start using the word client experiences. When you look at high-end luxury, what people are paying for is experience. A sample marketing plan, a sample marketing calendar, a communication plan, examples of your marketing, and if you choose to do so, a timeline of what it looks like to sell a property, right? And I would be taking the timeline in your markets and making them a checklist and printing it out and saying, look, partners do things together versus just being a service provider where someone just does things on their own in a silo. People love this stuff and eat it up. How many times do your clients not know what's coming next, right? This eliminates the entire process. I have to mute somebody. Okay.
Stop.
Here we go. So the next one is, how do you uncover your clients' motivations? It's asking them direct questions, which are open-ended. You listen actively. Now listen, there's listening to listen, listening to take notes. If you're doing both, you're not listening at all. Everyone needs a plod note or an otter on their cell phone, right? There is no reason on God's green earth today, with the advancements of modern technology, that you need to sit there while someone's talking and just listening to put things down. Now, this always comes up, especially for my friends in San Francisco. Do I need to tell them that they're being recorded? You recorded. You want to tell them that you're being recorded. I'd say, hey, Melissa, would it be okay if I utilize an artificial intelligence recording device so I can actively listen to the things that are most important to you, every note and every part of our conversation, and the things that are most important are documented, and I'll have a set of notes and I'll be able to send you a recap shortly after. And they're going to say, yeah, that would be great, right? And if they say no, what we know in hundreds of clients doing this, it's very minimal. All right, let's go to our bread and butter, the Med-C: motivations, expectations, disappointments, and concerns. These are the 4 drivers to human behavior. And this is how you frame your pitch. This is what I call functional medicine. This is curing the cause of all the challenges that people have versus treating the symptom. So when we did the objection today, what makes you different than other agents? Odds are, if you did the Med-C, they're not even going to ask that because they know it's all about them. The framing question: would it be okay if I asked you a few really important questions, Melissa, so we could solely focus our time together on what's most important to you? Nobody says no to that. All they heard is solely focus their time together on what's most important to you, because that's all that they care about. So there are 2 types of motivations. I always like to make kind of a joke about this, and you could say, moving is probably one of the least enjoyable or exciting things in the world. So what makes this the right time to make a move? And then the second one is, as a result of moving, what directly are you most excited about happening? As a result of moving, what directly are you most excited about happening? They're going to tell you not only like what they're moving, but what the pleasure point in their cortex is. I'm moving so I can have these kinds of experiences, because you're going to want this when you need to influence them at other points in the transaction, right? Because we need to tie it back to that life, that experience, and what they really are going through this terrible process of moving. Expectations, there are 2 parts of that. What are your expectations of a partner? What are your expectations of an agent you partner with to sell your home? And you're going to listen. And then after that, most people, if they don't bring up communication, what are your expectations around communication? The third one is, in an effort to meet and exceed your expectations, what disappointments have you had with agents or service providers, so we ensure that they don't happen again during this process? And if you really want somebody to trust you, this is like where all the money is, because no one is asking them that, right? And the last one is concerns. Melissa, what concerns you have? Like, what keeps you up at night? Timing, inventory, interest rates, a compilation, and their concerns are really their hidden objections, right? So when you go through this process, there are people that just feel relieved. And outside of doing this process, how do you know how to sell somebody, right? Your value proposition is 80-20. The 80% of it essentially is what you offer somebody, right? Your benefits, your technology, your team, your resources, your track record, whatever those things are. 20% is their motivations, expectations, disappointments, concerns, needs, wants, desires, goals, and unique situation. And unless you understand what those are, you need to tailor your 80 to their 20, not show up on these presentations or pitches or consultations, whatever you want to call them, and just give them the whole 80. Like, it's too much information. There are many of you that could say the amount of information I've gone through in less than 9 minutes is a lot, right? Now imagine somebody selling their house for the first time. People confuse first-time home buyers with first-time sellers. There's a big difference. They've never sold a home before, right? So we have to be sensitive to this. The number one pitfall during a pitch. So can anyone say in the chat, there's about 80 of us here, where it all goes bad on the presentation, the pitch, right from the beginning? What is the number one trap? Drop in the chat. Telling? I don't know is an answer too. So let's see where we are. Don't disagree. Letting them guide you through the house to start the conversation, touring the home first, letting the setter lead the tour, not speaking and listening, talking about yourself, the tour, that they want to show you the house, start talking only about yourself. Got it. So look, it's the tour. It's where all things go bad. So here's what the purpose of a tour is. And many people don't realize this. Now you've built all this rapport. And obviously the people have a great emotional attachment and pride to their home. So when they're touring you around the house, essentially they're selling you on all the reasons their home is worth whatever idea they've imagined in their head, the check that they have deposited in their bank account, and all the things that they're doing with the money. Now, what do we do? Oh my God, this is great. This is amazing. Thank you so much. I see all the time you put into this. Buyers are going to love this feature. And you compliment, you compliment, you compliment, right? And then eventually you get to the pricing portion of it, and then you beat them down with comps and this other home is not. And they're like, wait a second, but you said my house was good. That's where all the friction starts, right? So the rule number one of sales is establish authority and control. So we talk about Turing questions, right? Here's some, and we have more in depth. I would say to Melissa, since she's my client today and I can see her, I'd say I would quickly, the skill in this is quickly looking around the home, right? And saying, you know, Melissa, it's really clear your house has a great view, an updated kitchen, an open layout, and I could clearly see all the thoughtfulness you put into the renovations. And they're going to say, Strog, that's great. Thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And then you say, hey, would it be okay if I asked you some really important questions as we walked around the house so that we could most effectively position your home to the ideal buyer to help you maximize your equity? I'll say that again. Would it be okay if I asked you a few really important questions so we could position your home for the right buyer to maximize your equity? Who's going to say no to that? Anybody? If you'd like to disagree with me, that's all good. Drop it in the chat. They're not going to say no. Because again, what they hear is important questions, right buyer, maximize equity. This is good for me. Now, here's the subconscious thoughts behind this. People love their home, correct? Everyone nod their head, yes. They're excited to talk about their home, but you know what gets them even more excited, makes them feel good? A trip down memory lane. Who doesn't love sharing, right? How many people do we see get together? Remember the time we did this? Remember, and they're enthusiastic, they're exciting. And again, now you're not going into features and benefits. You're going into experience, right? Or here's another question. While touring your home, is it okay if I ask you a few questions to help me craft the story for your ideal buyer? Pick whichever one works best for you, right? So you can start off, and I'm not going to go off of what's on the screen. I would say, you know, Melissa, what made you purchase this home? Like, what were you most excited about, right? Then I would say, after living here for the last blank amount of years, what do you love most about your home? Melissa, why don't you bring me to your favorite room? What's your favorite room in your house? Why is it the favorite room in your house? What experiences have you had there that are so memorable that made this house a home for you? What's your favorite thing about the location? What makes it most convenient? What's your favorite memory? And then here's another one. What's one thing that you didn't know about your home when you moved in that you love the most now? Like, I always use the example of when I moved into the house that I'm in now, I had no idea like how great the closet space was. Like, between my partner and I, we both love like clothes and shoes. And for a guy, I have a pretty elaborate closet. So inside the room, there are 4 double door closets with shelves on top, built-ins on the bottom. And mine has a full walk-in closet with shelves and drawers and multiple rods, and the whole thing is full, right? Like, I would have never thought about that. And now I know if we ever move, we literally will measure the rod space in those closets, because we did look at houses, and what we realized was none of the houses that we looked at, regardless of price, would have been able to fit our clothes. We were looking at newer homes in cases where we'd have to figure out how to knock down a wall and make a closet. And we're like, wait a second, what we have is a lot more valuable than what we thought. And when you have all this information, now this affects the way you take pictures, the descriptions of the pictures, the way you tell a story in a video, the way that you make social media clips. And by the end of this, you know, caring, trust, connection are all things created through interactions and engagements. And at the end of this, I don't think there's a single person that could say that their clients won't feel connected, and no one wants to hire a non-enthusiastic salesperson, right? Like, you want people that are excited about your house, which is a product. So sellers care about 3 things: price, marketing, communication, period, end of story. There's nothing else that you can do. You know, the most important thing to me, Shrag, is price. Excuse me. Great. So what I hear you saying is you want to know the exact marketing plan I'm going to use to maximize the equity in your home? Yes. You know, we want really robust marketing. Great. So what I hear you saying is that you want to understand exactly how we're going to maximize the equity in your home through a launch plan and a step-by-step marketing plan. I care about communication, Chirag. Great. So what's most important to you is what I hear is most important to you is that you want a predictable communication plan in writing, getting you the exact information you want in the time frame that works best for you. You could come up with anything in the world. It relates back to all those three things, right? So we talk about marketing the home, right? Let's talk about the Compass Advantage, a real estate technology company. When you say what's a real estate technology company, it's a curated, seamless, end-to-end experience or client experience that's powered through our proprietary billion-dollar technology platform, right? I would have this on a slide and just let it sit in front of them, right? And they're going to say, wow, what's that? And by the way, anyone that comes after you is screwed, literally screwed. We've come up with this slide in this new buyer consultation, which I think it's like the greatest thing in the world. We're going to bring it into the listing presentation, which shows like Business Tracker, in my opinion, is not a business tracker. It's a place that collaborates a client's entire experience through multiple pieces of technology in one place. So we have this slide that we made, right? Which shows like home tours, offers, notes, CMA, all of the different things. And literally on the slide, it says, what's your plan B? Right. So anyone looking at this is going to look at all those things, is just going to be confused, right? Like, what do you mean? What's our plan B? To say, what's your plan B? If all of this information is captive to one agent and something happens to them, they get sick, they're on vacation, they get COVID, what's your plan B? What happens to your transaction? So anyone that doesn't work at Compass that goes after this slide is screwed. So if you think about a value proposition in 60 seconds for technology, this is what it looks like. Can you guys hear this, Melissa? Hold on. Now?
At Compass, we utilize artificial intelligence to instantly and seamlessly create a marketing video of your property. In just minutes, we can then launch a digital advertising campaign on our ad platform across Facebook, Instagram, and Google, targeting the ideal buyer for your home. We're able to measure the results on our proprietary insights report, allowing us to see how many online showings we've had, exactly how long buyers are spending viewing the listing, and where they are located, down to the devices they're searching on. This allows us to further target and pinpoint the right buyers for your home. Compass technology gives us back the time we need to provide our clients with the most seamless experience, from preparation to closing. A Compass agent, a smarter way to sell your home.
All right, now I don't know how to go from one slide in the presentation to the other, so let's all just wear our honesty hat here about this embedded video. But I wanted to just stop and ask all of you, if you were able to share that with your client, do any of you feel that your clients have any questions about how the technology works? I'm going to ask my buddy, Jeff Lang. Jeff, at the end of that, you're a seasoned agent, coach. You've been around coaching for 20 years. So I'm going to ask you, at the end of that, does that pretty clearly demonstrate what technology and how multiple pieces collaborate together?
It does. I would certainly have follow-up questions, but it's definitely a wow factor for sure.
So you guys all have access to the raw video, right? And what I encourage you all to do is make your own intro and make your own outro. Do not send people to our YouTube channel. Like, please don't do that. Like, this is about you, right? So make your own video. We also have a buyer, right? So this is the benefits of like how our integration works. So let me keep going here. All right, so now we're talking about calendars, right? So this is your launch plan. Everyone lives off a calendar. So what I would be doing if I were all of you is I would be showing them the calendar and explaining this is the way we do things. Now, this gives you the ability, excuse me, to control timelines, control when you do pictures, when you launch properties. I'm always very apprehensive of my client that always used to say to me, I have to have my house on the market in this many days. And I would say, hold on, I'm confused. Is there something that you forgot to tell me? And they're like, what are you talking about, Chirag? Is your house getting foreclosed? If something happens, like, is there some negative and they're going to say no. They're going to say, look, ultimately I'll do whatever, whatever you decide to do, I support you 100%. But I want to maximize the equity in your home. And that's through a curated launch process that we've done over and over again that creates traffic, creates demand, that will create offers, and that will get you the best price. Is that what you're committed to doing? And then our clients that follow this, it's like clockwork. Like, which days are your pictures. You could plan your schedule more effectively. So this is something I suggest everyone does. And then take what's in this calendar and itemize it into a marketing plan, right? Like, we have marketing plans on our platform as well. Pricing the home. Let's talk about positioning versus pricing. Pricing implies that there is a clear winner or loser. Positioning is more sophisticated, it's more elevated. And you say, Melissa, before we discuss how we most effectively position your home on the market, would it be okay if we aligned on one simple concept? This is I call this like the $1 million slide, because in the end of this, role clarity and what an agent actually does is confusing to people. And they don't understand that all of these factors that are not in your control are not your fault, but we end up defending them, so we own them. I would say, Jeff, would you agree? Is there things as the owner of the home you can control, things as the agent you choose to partner with, I can control, and things ultimately that none of us control? Now, for the sake of time, we're going to ask them the question, can you control this? Can you control this? And then at the end of it, say, do you feel there's anything else you could control as the owner of this home? They're going to say no. Loop closes, right? Then the agent controls, you're going to go through the same thing. Do you feel there's anything else I can control? Loop closes. When the seller says no, now in their mind, they have created clarity in your role, right? Things that no one control: world events, local economy, stock market, interest rates, the election, the prices your neighbors are willing to accept for their homes. And the other one, prices buyers are willing to accept. Buyers are willing to pay for your home, and that's no. So effectively now you're collaborating on what you can control and what they can control against what no one controls. And that brings us into sharing the market. When you share the market, it is a much more thoughtful process. Meaning you're showing them the comps, you're asking them, what are the days on market? What's the list price and sales price? What did the home sell for? So they're programming their brain to what's true and what's not true. In a different session, we'll go through what are the objections and how to most effectively do this. But for today, we just want to give you the grand overview. Communication plan, right? You'll frame the question with a dialogue of, would you ever work with somebody? And you go through the same thing of undefined business hours, no after hours appointments, no emergency contact. And in the end, you shift it to, if you wouldn't want that experience for blank, we want to ensure that you don't do that for your house. You'll go through this communication plan with them. You'll outline how you work with them, and ultimately have a written signed communication plan, right? So these are all pieces of the puzzle that we'll go through more in depth. And stop telling your clients what you do and show the benefits. There's one thing I think I want us all to align on is this shows them the exact experience you have. It shows that you're organized. It shows that you're thinking ahead. It shows that you're collaborative. It shows that you're strategic. And it shows that you're providing a luxury service. Now, let's go into explaining buyer's agent's commission, right? This is kind of like a little bonus. If you have to drop off, drop off. But look, in framing the conversation, you just want to tell them that, one, you want to control the narrative. Two, you want to just share the options. And number three, the $1 million statement. Whatever you decide to do, I support you 100%. So I would say, Jeff and Melissa, at this point, the only thing left to discuss is, what incentive do you want to offer out to the buyer, not the buyer's agent, not buyer's agent's commission, to the buyer? And to be clear, you don't have to offer out any incentive at all. eat the frog. First scenario, no buyer's agent's compensation. And then you want to ask them, like, if they were looking at a property and they had to potentially come out of pocket for blank amount of money, where in others they had an incentive to offset some or all of their costs, how would that impact them? Now, the thing that you're going to learn in this statement really quickly is if they see any value in the incentive. If they say, no, I don't really care, it wouldn't affect me, no matter what you tell them, just understand it's not going to change. The second option is offering out a flat fee where the buyer would still have to pay for part of it, offering out a percentage-based compensation, kind of like this is the way that it worked. And ultimately be prepared, even if you want to offer nothing, that they're going to offer something, right? So my goal today, and I hope I hit the goal, and you'd say yes, no, maybe so, is just to walk you through the overview of what a great presentation is. Now, who here has seen the free month of coaching at Compass? Okay, saw the emails. So all of you sign up for our program. What we did was really different. I have partnered with different people, and all of these things we're going to be role playing them live. It's really cool, right? So you'll get to see it. It's something we want to do more in like actual settings with people, more in accountability sessions, right? So it's part of like my Willy Wonka surprise and delight. But this is the framework. Start in the beginning and master the pre-qualification process, then master the home tour process, and then move on to each piece. The idea of anyone's thinking this is a lot, I don't have to learn this, I have to learn this all at once is the most horrible idea. You need to learn one part, master it, and then go to the next one. And by mastering the first part, it's going to make all the other parts easier. Thank you, Miriam. So that's what we have for you today. Come back in 30 minutes so we can role play the what makes me different than other agents. And in the tail end of it, we went through a little more about compensation, words to use, things that you don't ever want to say that are just going to cost you money and create conflict. So tune back in at 12:30. And as always, love in my heart. I love you all. Thank you all for joining in. We'll get this up on the platform with all the resources attached to them. And we'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.